In 2012, someone posted a puzzle on the internet. The puzzle required knowledge of cryptography, steganography, classical literature, ancient philosophy, mathematics, and computer security. It led from a message board to a phone number to GPS coordinates in 6 countries to physical posters on street corners to a dark website to a private encrypted forum. The people who made it to the end were asked questions about their support for information freedom, online privacy, and the rejection of censorship. Those who answered satisfactorily were given a project. The project was never completed. The organization went silent, and a book they released, 74 pages of ancient runes, remains mostly unread, not because people haven't tried, because something in the pages that have been decoded suggests that reading the rest requires something the solvers don't have. We found what that something might be, and we're not sure, having found it, that publishing it is the right decision. On January 4th, 2012, an anonymous black and white image appeared on 4chan's random message board. The image contained a block of white text. "Hello, we are looking for highly intelligent individuals. To find them, we have devised a test. There is a message hidden in this image. Find it, and it will lead you on the road to finding us. We look forward to meeting the few that will make it all the way through. Good luck, 3301. Within hours, users began analyzing the image. Using steganography tools, software that detects information hidden in the redundant data of image files, they found a hidden message. The message contained a URL. The URL led to another image with another hidden message. That message contained a phone number. The phone number played a recorded message. The recorded message, decoded, contained coordinates, a web address constructed from prime numbers embedded in the dimensions of the original 4chan image. The website hosted a countdown timer. When the timer hit 0, it displayed GPS coordinates, 14 of them, in 5 countries. Solvers in Warsaw, Paris, Seoul, Sydney, Seattle, and New Orleans went to the coordinates and found what was waiting for them. Printed posters taped to lampposts and street corners, showing a cicada emblem and a QR code. The codes led further. The puzzle had jumped from the internet into the physical world, simultaneously in multiple countries, requiring coordination and resources that a lone individual or small group of friends would have found extremely difficult to manage. The first people to reach the final stage of the puzzle received a private message from 3301 thanking them for their progress and inviting them to continue through private channels. Then the public channels went dark. The puzzle would return. Exactly 1 year later, on January 4th, 2013. And again, exactly 1 year after that, on January 4th, 2014. Each time it was more complex. Each time fewer people made it to the end. After 2014, silence. Until April 2017, when a single verified message appeared. An OpenPGP signed statement denying the validity of any unsigned puzzle, claiming to be from 3301. And then nothing. It has been called the most elaborate and mysterious puzzle of the internet age. 13 years later, nobody knows who created it. Marcus Warner solved the 2013 puzzle. He was 15 years old. He described his experience in partial public statements over the years. He reached the end. He was given a project, specifically, work on a method of general decryption. He did not complete it. The website was removed. He has said in various forums and interviews that the experience was significant and that he chose not to discuss the full details of what happened after he was admitted to the private forum. He has not explained why he chose not to discuss it. A user known online as Nox Populi also solved the 2013 puzzle. She documented her experience in a YouTube series, careful, methodical videos that showed the solving process and offered her assessment of the organization. She described being asked to develop something that would have practical value for the cypherpunk community. She described the forum going quiet. She described her conclusion that whatever Cicada 3.301 was, it was real and organized and intentional, in ways that went beyond what was publicly visible. Her channel still exists. Her videos were uploaded between 2013 and 2017. In April 2017, the same month as Cicada's last verified message, she stopped posting. She has not made a public statement about Cicada 3.301 since. When we searched for her, we found evidence that she had continued activity on several encrypted platforms through at least 2022. We attempted to contact her. We did not receive a response. We want to be careful about what we imply by noting this. Many people go quiet on the internet for many reasons. We are not saying her silence is sinister. We are noting that the most articulate public voice from inside Cicada's recruitment process went silent in the same month the organization issued its last verified message. And that this is the pattern. The people who got closest say the least. The third puzzle, released in January 2014, introduced something new. A book. The Liber Primus, first book in Latin, was released as a series of image files. Each page was covered in characters, an angular runic script that Cicada had used in earlier puzzles for short passages, but had never deployed at this length. The book ran to 74 pages. Solvers recognized the script as a variant of the Elder Futhark, an ancient runic writing system used in Northern Europe before the adoption of the Latin alphabet. Applying the standard Elder Futhark alphabet to the text-produced words, but not English words, not any language anyone immediately recognized. It took substantial collaborative effort to establish that the Liber Primus was written in a constructed runic cipher, a system where the standard rune-to-letter mapping was modified by keys embedded elsewhere in the puzzle. The first 19 pages were decoded through this process. They contained philosophical content, meditations on individual sovereignty, the importance of privacy, the corruption of institutions, the sacred nature of information. They contained further riddles and puzzles. They did not contain a final answer or a destination. The remaining 55 pages have not been decoded, not for lack of effort. There are active communities, Discord servers, Reddit threads, dedicated wikis, still working on the Liber Primus more than a decade after its release. The problem is not that people haven't tried. The problem, as researchers who have spent years on this material describe it, is that the decryption key for the remaining pages is not present in any of the materials that have been publicly released. The key is somewhere else. We found in the patterns of the 19 decoded pages something that suggests where the key might be, not what it is. We want to be careful about that distinction, but where it might be kept, and in whose possession. We are going to show you what we found, and we are going to let you decide what to do with it. We want to be precise about what we mean when we say we found something in the Liber Primus. We did not decode the remaining 55 pages. We do not have the key. We are not claiming to have solved what thousands of researchers have not solved. What we found is a pattern. In the 19 decoded pages of the Liber Primus, there are references to specific concepts that appear in the order they appear to function as a kind of index, not an index to the rest of the book, an index to something outside the book, something that the organization expected a specific kind of reader with a specific kind of knowledge to recognize. The concepts are drawn from three sources: a specific branch of applied mathematics developed in the 1970s, a philosophical tradition that intersects with both Gnostic theology and modern information theory, and a technical standard developed in the early 1990s that governs how encrypted communications are authenticated. These three things exist in a very small overlap. The people who know all three are not numerous. They are not generally members of the public. We believe, and we want to emphasize, that this is speculative, that the key to the remaining 55 pages of the Liber Primus is not a cipher key in the conventional sense. It is a community, a specific small community of people who would recognize the references in the decoded pages as an address, as an invitation, as a door. We believe the remaining pages have already been read by the people they were written for, and that the public puzzle, the 4chan image, the coordinates, the Liber Primus, was never intended to lead anyone to those pages. It was intended to identify the people who were close enough to find the door. Whether any of those people are still on the other side of it, we don't know. Here is what we know. Between 2012 and 2014, an organization called 3301 posted 3 rounds of cryptographic puzzles of unprecedented complexity. The puzzles led solvers through digital and physical layers to a private recruitment process. The people who were recruited were screened for specific values and given specific projects. The projects were never publicly completed. The organization issued its last verified message in April 2017 and has been silent since. A 74-page runic manuscript remains mostly unread. The U.S. Navy and GCHQ built similar puzzles within 2 years. Here is what we don't know. Who created it? What the purpose was? What happened to the people who were recruited? What the remaining 55 pages of the Liber Primus contain? Whether 3301 is still active? And whether what we found in the decoded pages points to something real or to a pattern we constructed ourselves in the absence of answers. We said at the beginning that we weren't sure publishing this was the right decision. We still aren't sure, but we think you should know it exists. We're laying out what we found. You decide what it means. If you know something we don't, you know where to find us. Subscribe, share this, and leave a comment. Because whoever created Cicada 3301 chose the cicada for a reason. Cicadas live underground for years. They emerge once. They are loud, briefly, and then they go back underground, and nobody knows exactly when they'll come back.